You ever have one of those moments where you open your bank app and your stomach drops? Not because you bought something expensive, not because you booked a vacation, but because somehow your money just vanished. Again, you start scrolling. $9 coffee, $14 food delivery, $22 random online order, $7 subscription you forgot existed, and suddenly you're sitting there thinking, wait, how am I broke again? Here's the weird part. Most people think this happens because they're bad with money. But what if that's not true? What if your bank account is literally designed to make you overspend? Because there's one tiny psychological mistake almost everyone makes, and once you see it, you can never unsee it again. And the craziest part? The fix takes less than 10 minutes, but it changes the way your brain sees money forever. Picture this. It's Friday night. You worked hard all week, you're tired. You tell yourself, I deserve something nice, so you order food, maybe buy something online, maybe stop for coffee the next morning. Nothing crazy, nothing irresponsible, just small stuff. But here's what nobody tells you about small purchases. They don't feel dangerous. That's why they're dangerous. Nobody ruins their finances in one day. It happens slowly, quietly, like water leaking from a pipe you can't see. And the worst part? Modern life makes spending feel invisible. You don't hand over cash anymore. You tap your phone, click a button, done. No emotional pain, no hesitation, no moment to think. Which means your brain never fully registers the loss. And that changes everything. Because years ago, spending money actually hurt. You physically watched cash leave your hands. But now, buying something feels almost identical to scrolling social media. Just tap, 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 and before you realize it, your paycheck disappears. Again, this is where most financial advice completely fails people. Because everyone says the same thing. Just budget better. Just stop buying coffee. Just use more discipline. But discipline is unreliable. Think about it. Have you ever promised yourself, okay, this month I'm saving money, and for the first few days, you're locked in. No unnecessary spending, no random purchases. Then suddenly, one stressful day happens. You're tired, frustrated, bored, and somehow you end up buying things you didn't even plan to buy. Why? Because human beings do not make decisions logically all the time. We make emotional decisions, especially when we're stressed, especially when we're overwhelmed, and especially when spending feels easy. That's why smart companies spend billions making payments frictionless. One-click checkout, saved credit cards, Face ID payments. Because every extra second of thinking reduces spending, and companies know that. But here's the part nobody realizes. You can use the exact same psychology against overspending. Let's say you get paid $3,000 a month. You check your account. You see $3,000. Your brain instantly relaxes. Nice, I'm good. But you're not seeing reality. You're seeing an illusion because your brain ignores invisible obligations. Rent, utilities, insurance, groceries, transportation, subscriptions. Your brain sees available money, not committed money. And that creates a psychological trap. Imagine someone hands you a backpack and says there's 50 pounds inside. At first, it feels manageable, but then you realize most of the weight is hidden at the bottom. That's what your bank account feels like. Your balance lies to you. Not intentionally, but psychologically. And once your brain believes you have extra money, your spending behavior changes instantly. You become more relaxed, more impulsive, more willing to justify purchases. And the scary part? You don't even notice it happening. There's a reason casinos don't use cash much anymore. Because chips don't feel real. And when money stops feeling real, people spend more. That's not an opinion. That's psychology. Researchers found that the more abstract money becomes, the less emotionally painful spending feels. Cash feels real, cards feel less real, phone payments feel even less real, and automatic subscriptions, those are almost invisible. That's why people can cancel a $200 purchase instantly, but somehow ignore 5 separate $15 subscriptions for years. Because your brain processes them differently. Now here's where this gets interesting. Most people think they have a spending problem, but often they actually have a visibility problem. Their money is too accessible, too mixed together, too easy to misread, which leads to one of the biggest financial mistakes people make, using one account for everything. One account, everything mixed together. Bills, groceries, entertainment, impulse spending, savings, all in one place. And psychologically, that's chaos, because your brain can't separate categories clearly, so every dollar starts feeling available, even when it isn't. Imagine opening your fridge and seeing healthy food mixed with junk food everywhere. What happens? Most people grab whatever feels good in the moment. Money works exactly the same way. Environment shapes behavior, always. If temptation is visible, your brain uses more energy resisting it, and eventually, resistance breaks. That's why people overspend most at night. Not because they suddenly become irresponsible, but because mental energy runs out. Decision fatigue kicks in, and when your brain is tired, it chooses convenience, comfort, dopamine, instant gratification. That late-night food order, it's usually not hunger, it's emotional exhaustion. So one day, I stopped trying to become more disciplined, and instead, I changed the system itself. And honestly, this completely changed my relationship with money. Not because I became smarter, not because I suddenly mastered budgeting, but because I removed temptation before it even appeared. It's called the 2-account system, and it sounds almost stupidly simple, but psychologically, it's powerful. Here's how it works. Account number 1, the bills account. This account has one purpose only: survival expenses, rent, utilities, insurance, internet, phone bill, subscriptions, anything fixed. The moment your paycheck arrives, that money gets separated immediately. And here's the important part: you do not spend from this account. No debit card, no online shopping, no random purchases, nothing. Its only job is protecting your future self. Now comes account number 2, the spending account. This is your real-life account. Food, coffee, shopping, entertainment, daily life. And suddenly, something weird happens psychologically. Your brain stops lying to you. Because now, instead of seeing $3,000, you only see what's actually available. This is the part nobody expects. When your spending account says $400, your behavior changes automatically. You think differently, you pause more, you prioritize better, not because you're forcing yourself to, but because your environment changed. Remember this, humans are highly visual creatures. What we see changes how we behave. If someone keeps cookies on the kitchen counter, they eat more cookies. If the cookies disappear, cravings often disappear too. Same brain, different environment. Money follows the exact same rule. And this is why the system works better than traditional budgeting for most people. Because budgets require constant thinking, constant tracking, constant willpower, but systems reduce decisions. And fewer decisions mean less emotional exhaustion. That's the secret. Let's be honest, most budgets fail within weeks, not because people are lazy, but because traditional budgeting feels like punishment. Track every dollar, categorize every purchase, analyze every expense. Most people don't want to spend their entire life staring at spreadsheets, and eventually, they quit. Then they blame themselves. But the problem wasn't them. The problem was friction. Good systems remove friction. Bad systems create more of it. That's why the 2-account system works so well. It simplifies reality. Instead of asking, "Can I technically afford this?" you ask, "Is there money in the spending account?" That's it. One decision, No mental gymnastics, no hidden math, no stress, and surprisingly, simplicity often beats perfection. But here's the part that shocked me the most. The biggest change wasn't financial, it was emotional. Because for the first time, I stopped fearing my bills. Think about how many people feel anxiety every time rent is due, or panic when their card declines unexpectedly, or avoid checking their bank account completely. That stress slowly damages people, mentally, emotionally, even physically. But when bills are already separated, your nervous system calms down. You stop feeling constantly behind, and for the first time, money stops feeling like chaos. It starts feeling controlled, predictable, safe, and honestly, that feeling alone is life-changing. But there's another hidden trap most people never notice: lifestyle inflation. This is the moment your income increases, but your life somehow stays financially stressful anyway. You start earning more, so naturally you upgrade things. Better food, better clothes, better apartment, more subscriptions, more convenience. And slowly, your expenses rise to match your income, which means no matter how much money you make, you still feel broke. That's why some people making six figures still live paycheck to paycheck, because income alone does not create financial peace. Systems do. And if your system is broken, more money usually amplifies the problem, not solves it. Here's the biggest misunderstanding in personal finance. People think their brain is the problem. But your brain isn't broken. Your brain is simply responding to its environment. Humans evolved to seek immediate rewards. That's normal. That's survival psychology. The problem is modern spending systems exploit that psychology constantly. Advertisements, notifications, limited time offers, one-click payments. Everything is engineered to bypass rational thinking. So instead of fighting your brain every single day, build a system that works with it, that changes the game completely. Because the goal isn't becoming perfect, the goal is making good decisions easier. Here's the practical part. And honestly, this takes less time than ordering food online. Step 1. Open a second checking account. That's it. Most banks let you do this in minutes. Step 2. Rename the accounts. One becomes bills, one becomes spending. This sounds small, but labels matter psychologically. Words change behavior. Step 3. Calculate your fixed expenses. Rent, utilities, insurance, subscriptions, everything predictable. Step 4. Automate transfers every payday. Bills money goes straight into the bills account. Everything else goes into spending. And suddenly, your finances become visually clear. No guessing, no surprises, no hidden chaos, just clarity. Look, most people spend years trying to fix their finances with motivation. But motivation fades. Systems last. That's the difference. And honestly, the people who succeed financially usually aren't the people with the strongest willpower. They're the people with the simplest systems. Because simple systems survive bad days, stressful days, emotional days, and life will always have those days. But when your environment protects you from your worst impulses, everything changes. Not overnight, but slowly, quietly, until one day you check your bank account and instead of panic, you feel peace. And that feeling might be more valuable than money itself. So before you click away, I want you to think about something. How much of your financial stress is actually coming from the way your system is designed? Not your income, not your intelligence, not your discipline, your system. Because sometimes, small invisible changes create massive life changes. And this might be one of them. If this video made you rethink the way you manage money, hit the like button and subscribe. Because this channel isn't about pretending to be rich. It's about understanding the psychology behind money. so you can finally stop feeling controlled by